Uh-oh. Been haunted by this tune. I bet somebody out there recognizes it. I'm sure that wasn't bad enough to where. Let's see who can place that. If you think you know what that was that's been running through my head, PM me. Don't put the answer in here yet. Let's see who can get this. It is Friday, May 6th, 13th, 6th. Next week is Friday the 13th. Got a few things I want to talk about. Some interesting stuff. I had a really kind of eclectic set of lessons. I've been meaning to do that for like years, and I thought, you know what, it's just too short and it's too little, and there's nothing going on. But it's still really fun to play. So I hope some people got a kick out of Warren Zevon, and we will. There's definitely room for some of his other songs coming up here. Somebody we obviously lost way too early. So what else? The other two lessons that went up. I guess I want to tell you a little bit about one of them, because the one with Ed working on. We got into later, and you probably couldn't see this very well in the lesson because his back is, of course, to the camera because of the way I shoot stuff here. But we got into talking about different ways of playing an A sus4 and getting there. I'm going to address that again a little bit later. First, I want to kind of run down some of the more important news, but that's one of the questions I want to get to today. So I hope I remember. And what else do we have? Everybody worn out from trying to play along at like 138 beats a minute and keeping double time going and playing all those bar chords. That was a great request that came out a few weeks ago, and I thought, there's another song I've been meaning to do. So once somebody put the suggestion up, I thought, very cool. Let's see, big news for today. There's a lot of big news. If all goes well, we're going to have a live webcast tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Saturday the 7th. Pacific time. This may all fall through, but we'll keep you posted on the forum. And it's mostly to talk about a new, it's kind of to launch a new DVD that I'm really excited about. Many of the other ones we put out have been these big packs of stuff. But we're getting down now into practical applications that people can digest in a month or so rather than a year's worth of study, the whole chord chemistry stuff. Well, anyway, and this one is a 10-song set of campfire songs, ranging from really easy. These are all new short 10-minute lessons on songs that only use 4 chords in the key of G. Now, having said that, I actually used 5, but none of the songs use more than 4. But we learned the 5 chords in the key of G. G, C, D, A minor, and E minor are the ones we rip through. So anyway, we'll have a little bit more info of that on that tomorrow live, and we don't need to, but open to any questions that anybody wants to blast in there. It doesn't just have to do with campfire songs. So I'm going to try to make this kind of a hybrid, launch a DVD thing, but also open to anything anybody wants to talk about. So again, might fall through, but if technology is on our side and the time gods allow, we will be doing this Saturday the 7th at 1 o'clock. That'd be 4 o'clock on the East Coast. Must be 9 o'clock across the ocean. Depends on which part of across the ocean you are. And maybe 10 o'clock in Europe probably. And early in the morning in Australia. Okay, last thing about DVDs is last weekend we kind of ran a contest that turned into a drawing, and we had some people win some cool stuff. We had a grand prize that went to Mike Fee in Illinois, and he won the full set of 10 sets that we had. So we're gonna keep doing these little contests every once in a while and try to give away a lot of stuff. And then we had a couple runners-up. Bob Roberts picked up, and their choices were any set they wanted. And Bob picked up the Fingerpicking Pro disc, and then we had Dr. Norman McLeod, who wanted the Big Bag of Blues, Max's set. So anyway, that's it for the announcements. Webcast. Oh man, I've almost gone through everything on my list, except for except for the A sus4 thing that I want to talk about, and I'll save that for last. I got to tell you a little bit more about this in a minute. Okay, so in the Fly on the Wall on the Wind, we got to talking about when you play it in the introduction, you don't even need the A sus4 at all. But when it gets into the strumming, you need a quick one beat of A sus4 and one beat of A. And Ed was trying to land on this. He likes to play his A's with his second finger doing a hinge across the third and fourth strings, and his third finger arched playing just the second string. So that's kind of an odd A chord, but for him it worked. And actually, when I was younger, I did this too. I used to play the A with my first finger hinging on 2. I've probably told this story, but it was a long time ago, so I doubt if anybody remembers it or was paying attention. But I used to play the A with my, looks like we're being buzzed by helicopters. Hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. Something else, no, I'll save that for later. I've been trying to get better audio in the videos finally after 8 years of videos and stuff, and so when I'm recording audio, not the camera anymore. But when I use the camera and the airplanes and helicopters come nearby, you can really tell. Okay, but this A chord, I used to play it with a hinge and my second finger, and that just felt really comfortable for me. I never really tried the one finger hinge where you're getting all 3 notes. And then I jammed this knuckle, my top knuckle on my first finger, and couldn't do it. So then I started doing it this way. And that might have been even when Ed started taking lessons from me, like 35 years ago. And so he may have got that from me, I don't know. But over the years, I modified it to where I really, as everybody probably knows who's watching this, prefer the 3 fingers with your first finger in the middle. And the catch is, if you go with one of these hinge bar things, it's really hard to land on A sus4 quick without putting down the whole thing first, and then the little finger that is the suspended part ends up being late. Well, so what I was trying to get Ed to do was not worry about the third finger until after he got the suspended part. But the quick way to play the A sus4 I like is with the full one finger hinge. And we don't really need the first string when what we're trying to hear is that change of D to C sharp. So anyway, that's what we were talking about in that part in the video where you probably couldn't see what was going on. Okay, last thing I want to talk about was album art. That A sus4. Back to B flat major 7, I think. Sorry. meant to talk about was album art, but all of a sudden that A stuff seemed to like just jump out of nowhere. So Lynn showed us her copy of Thick as a Brick from 1972. Pretty sure. Let's see. There's a date on the newspaper. January 7th, 1972, Friday. I wonder if that really was a Friday. I'm sure it was. But back in those good old days, she at least opened up her album and showed you that, well, it gets bigger. It's a newspaper. But what you couldn't see in the picture there was there's like 8 pages of articles. And Masked Gunman, all kinds of stuff. Boy, I haven't read any of this in a long time. Maybe I should just read you all of these articles for the rest of the news. Crossword, the St. Cleve crossword puzzle. What do you think? Oh, and a review of the new Tull LP. How many times have you seen a review of an album in the album artwork? That'd have to be a never. Anyway, I think that's enough. But you get the idea. Oh, it's the weekend television schedule. Cartoons, roller skate champ passes through, wedding information, editorial comments, classified ads. I'm going to get caught up in... I'm actually going to look at the rest of this today. We might not get any new lessons for a month. Anyway, Thick as a Brick. Great album, great cover. And for those of you that, for anybody that might have... I love that song. I should play that more. Well, anyway, why did I bring that up? I have 2 more things to talk about. One of them was I did put an album out. Jay asked a while ago if I would think about putting out an album that had some of the stuff that I'd been playing lately on it. I think this was on his list, his request list. And, not coincidentally, maybe, that and Chattanooga Choo Choo are on my album Yesterday's News, along with stuff like Ain't Misbehavin', yikes. Oh, there's some Gershwin, what else? I wish I had one here that I could show you right now. But the liner notes from that were totally inspired by this. I've got all kinds of articles in there about, not all kinds, not nearly the amount that Ian Anderson put in here, but a few articles about some of the actually facts in my life, and being like arrested in a park for teaching guitar. Well, not arrested, being sent on my way, saying you can't run a business on that cement bench, but I did. Wait, there's one more thing I meant to mention. I hope everybody saw the. I hope we're going to see some video, and maybe it's been up by now. But because Chris promised us from their our girls and Chris's visit with Dave in Holland, and that is really cool. Love seeing TGers together in other parts of the world. So it sounds like everybody had a great time, and I'm looking forward to more of the stories. Okay, that is it for today. Probably went on longer than I meant to. Probably played a few things that I should have learned, should have practiced, or tried to not make up. And anybody recognize that yet? pretty sure that's exactly the right melody. Must be a D minor, huh? Well, okay. I'll let that continue haunting me and maybe you, and otherwise I will be back next week.